6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of separation. Six the feet of separation. Six the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Six the feet of separation. 6 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 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. This is the mystery font. The fontedness. Good golly, is that what this place is? What? Oh my. That's right. I'm Tim Cameron. This is the font, and you are welcome here. This is happening now. I know somehow I'm confident that this is now. That this isn't 7 years ago or 8 years ago. How long is 8 years in abusive relationship time? Because the sad fact is that we are all in an abusive relationship with the falsehood. Who has donned an age of permuting unflattering light? Who has donned an era where lying is smart, when lying means people get hurt? And that's a deal with an art. Who is the falsehood? Welcome to the font. Fun is how we know we're onto something. And someone brilliant once told me that was worth writing down. That's what this place is. That's what this place is? You're right. It all connects here somehow. I'm not sure why it's me, but when I came here, it was clear that these chambers and portals hold quite mystery and might help open up history. The falsehood will tell you it's smart to erase history. Where did that come from? There's a lot coming in. I'm not hearing voices, but I'm hearing voices in terms of there's a liaison that happens here. And so I'm going to translate from time to time without explaining how it comes in. But essentially this nexus is a fraction of what rests because of us in what we would regard as the head of the Statue of Liberty or the new Colossus. Because that's one place where we think the imagination of a democracy lives. And so it's perfectly natural that one point, one nexus of anti-oblivion lives there somehow. And because we are going through an abusive relationship with someone who has, it seems, donned the maybe 11 times in 2 centuries, there are culturally significant markers of an emergence of a person who dons the falsehood. Not all of the worst people in history have donned the falsehood. Some have done just as ill without it being a permuting hokum. But legendary is not just a movie company. Legendary is also a bubble of hokum cast by one who has successfully administered and self-donned the falsehood. Who? Who is the falsehood? We may never know. The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows of a doubt. The shadow knows of a doubt. The shadow of a doubt knows. The falsehood knows. The falsehood? Wait.
And having a good relationship with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing.
You've said you have no investments in Russia, but do you owe any money to Russian individuals and institutions?
No.
None.
The primary thing I did with Russia, I bought a house in Palm Beach at a bankruptcy. It was a bankrupt, person. I bought it from the banks. I bought it for about $40 million. I sold it for $100 million to a Russian. That was probably 5 years ago, and that was primarily it.
You partnered
now,
with
will
Russians
I
on the
sell?
Soho Grand.
Will I sell? Oh, many years ago. I don't think they're Russian. I think there were other people, but there were various partners. Will I sell condos to Russians on occasion? Probably. I mean, I do that. I have a lot of condos. I do that. But I have no relationship to Russia whatsoever.
No debts.
No debts. I have very little debt to anybody. I don't need debt. You know, it's very interesting. I'm so liquid, I don't need debt. And if I need debt, if I want debt, I can get it from banks in New York City very easily.
You know where I'm going to take this next. Americans could be assured on that if they saw your tax returns.
My tax returns are very simple. They're under a minor audit, routine audit, as they have been for many years. Every year I get audited. Now, I don't know if you get audited, but I have friends that are very wealthy that never have been audited. I say, do you get audited? I get audited every year. I'm under a routine audit, like routine. And I have been for years, every year.
But there's
if it's
several years
finished,
that are no longer
George,
under
it's
that
very
audit.
simple. Yeah, but they're all linked. It's called the link. It's very simple. If my audit's finished, that's great. Now, I have to tell you, I watched Mitt Romney 4 years ago. He waited till September to give him, just before the election. They made him look so bad. It was so unfair. I actually think he didn't lose because of the 47%. I think he lost because of a couple of really minor items in a tax return where he did nothing wrong. So it is unfair. But I will say, when I'm finished with the audit, I'll do it.
Richard Nixon released his even though his were under audit.
Don't use Richard Nixon as necessarily the guide, okay? I mean, it's an interesting person to use, but don't use it.
You are in an abusive relationship. Shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger, looking into your eyes, saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone, it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged and climbed upon a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood? He meant to draw iceberg Titanic. It's not the 19th anymore. It's the 20th, isn't it? Excellent. Updated. I Six the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of desperation. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He didn't mean to cause a panic. Prepared people can plan and plan quick. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He meant to draw iceberg Titanic. He drew the iceberg to Titanic. the feet of separation. He drew the iceberg to Titanic. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the fear of desolation. 6 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of desperation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the fear of desperation. 6 the feet of separation. Six the feet of separation. 6 the fear of separation. This is the mindness at the mystery font. Good golly! Six the feet of separation. 6 the fear of separation. 6 the fear of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Sets the fear of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Didn't mean to cause a panic. Prepared people can plan and plan quick. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He meant to draw iceberg Titanic. He drew the iceberg to Titanic. Nazis lost in World War II. Empowered as radar read their crew. And what we knew was probably due. Had no great American wall or boundary left. Just let it through. Didn't mean to cause a panic. Them coming through to cause a panic. Screw New Zealand and wind caution to let us play. He fought as law, and that's how the law know to play. He clouded thought, that's how flaw won. Her falsehoods plain, we know who don't want the falsehoods plain. We know who don't want the falsehoods plain. It's known who don't want. Cause a drastic accomplished to be so apparent. He didn't mean to cause a panic. iceberg to Titanic.
Dixie,
Dixie, Dixie, Dixie, Dixie, Dixie, Dixie, Dixie, Dixie. In my library. That he warned iceberg of Titanic, but he warned iceberg and Titan stick.
You got a tree and me a stump. I don't recognize guardian. To God a seed and leave a stump. I don't perceive a guardian. To God a tree and leave a stump. I don't perceive a guardian. To guard a tree and leave a stump. That's not what I call guardian. To embody actual Trump. You're a real card, your father's son. You're a real card, your father's suit. You're a real card, your father's loot. It's not the thing you swear upon. It's what your heart was. It's what your heart was. It's what your heart not abandon. It's what your heart won't abandon. It's what your heart won't how your word becomes action. It's that your word's an honest one. How long must you medicine us? You do doubt the new Colossus. You're a real card. You're a real card. You're a real card. Real card. Real card. Didn't want to cause a panic. You didn't mean to cause a panic. Plans stick when planning happens. We're not thick. Sixth, the fear of separation. Sixth, the fear of separation. Sixth, the feet 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 of devastation. Sixth, the feet of separation. Executive deception would be easier to perceive in place with reason. Executive function leaves without reason. Executive function leaves without
reason,
executive
function, your brain function, calm, escalate, What is he doing that? What is this hocus pocus? What is this? What? Okay, get that out of the way. What? Why is he doing that? What is that supposed to be? What in the You are in an abusive relationship. Shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger looking into your eyes saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone, it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged, has donned, and climbed upon the falsehood, a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood?
Sets the fear of separation. 6 the fear of separation. He didn't mean to go.
it might be helpful to pollinate something that is in a positive flow sort of vector. I'm going to find some sort of thing, maybe water. And it looks like there's something, is that Burgles? Something, I can see something through the 42nd Street portal. What's that? What's coming? Whoa! What the Falcon Crest? That wasn't Burgles. That looked like Project 2025 to me. That looked like Manuspread's density to me. Because Burgles, you're right here. Burgles, where did you come from? You were... I haven't seen you up close like this for a while. Are you getting closer to us? I think you're getting a lot closer, aren't you? Burgles, are you Project 2025? Can we just talk about this? Are you... Do you know what you are? Do you know what's coming? Do you know what we have to thwart here as a democratic nation? Are you just the force of unbridled rage permuted by lies? I mean, I would buy a lot of descriptions, a lot of rationales for how something like what you seem to hold would be. Because you don't look as scary as that ship, that nightmare of that ship. Are you the mystery font perceiving the threat of white supremacist patriarchal terror, Burgles? Are you the psyche articulating this feeling of something approaching, something like an iceberg being sent in our way, in our direction? Is that kind of what's going on here, Burgles? I mean, you just haven't been this close. And you really look, this isn't a slight, you look a great deal like, and you're moving around so much. Like I can see you, Burgles, you really look a lot, from here you look a lot like, I don't know what it is about the light, and you still look like you're a mile or so wide, but at least. I can't tell right now. I can still tell that you're massive wherever you are and however big you are. But right now, this odd motion freeze frame allegory of you that shows up, you look a little bit like there's like a plastic bag and like paper crumpled. I mean, I don't look that great either. I've been around a half a century now. Actually, I look all right. We're all going to be okay. We're all making it through. But we could have a crepe paper competition later on. I am aware that I feel like I've feared you a little bit, Burgles, where I think you're my fear showing up. Or the mindedness of the font showing up. Is that what's happening? I mean, you're a lot like what I would make if I had the thought to do so. It's a good idea. I'm constantly reassembling executive function. Going through a universal abusive relationship with someone who has donned the falsehood and diabolically poisoned fact and honor. We're experiencing betrayal trauma. We have traumatic brain injuries. We have been through 8 years of abuse. And it will not stop until we actually successfully tell Trump no. And have no truck with him. It's time. There's every reason to wake up, to recognize now that allowing him to do things that demonstrate his belief that he has absolute power and absolute authority, and to fail to hold him responsible is at least as powerful, if not much more powerful, than legal cases that people who have stopped watching the news and believe only what he says perceive. We need to apprehend the falsehood, and someone who is doing harm, someone who has targeted Americans, someone who is fostering terrorism in this country, someone who is directly responsible for the death of Dagny Benedict, someone who is responsible for making space for someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for giving any precedent for a downright cad like George Santos to just steal through permuting falsehood, time and focus and energy and attention of democracy. Just utter dark triad, predators and vandals have broken in. It is a continuing insurrection because to hold the lie that 2020 was stolen by Democrats with the false promise of proof that will never be delivered, and that as a plan is a confession. To use something that started violence, knowing that there is a formula of Pied Piping violence, means that you believe the plan worked well the first time. And it seems fairly clear that that's what it was designed to do. It wasn't an accident. He told us in 2016 that he would keep us in suspense. Why? Because he was saying scary stuff about not honoring elections and not believing elections. Saying threatening, destabilizing stuff about, I don't trust this, I don't trust that. And we weren't ready with a trap door for a saboteur. We should be ready with a trap door for a saboteur who did it once and says he did nothing wrong and is coming back with retribution in mind. There's no version of that that is not an attack. And you don't do things in one day as a dictator that you don't have to be a dictator to uphold after day one. That's not a thing. That's a fairy tale called blood. It's not safe. It's not safe to continue to believe that we don't have to muster the courage to say no. You don't talk to us like that. You don't talk to anyone like that. And you do not have absolute authority. Not only that, you are relieved. You are dismissed. Do not obstruct the function of government again, or your wall will be built around you. His wall may already, be in construction around him. That's not because of election interference. That's because of his own interference. If you commit a crime, what was it that Donald said? He was talking about shooting people who feel forced to burglarize. He was talking about shooting people who sell drugs. He's talked about extrajudicial killings and being free from any kind of punity for that. All of these things translate to one thing, that he gets to do whatever he wants and kill anyone whenever he wants. That is what he's saying. That is the only, every, all of what he is saying. And it's time to stop, and that means everyone. It's time to stop being friendly to him, as if the person who just interviewed him in the building next door didn't just receive a death threat from him on the set. Or that he didn't attack Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and essentially try to have them killed. He's still the same person, and he's saying he did nothing wrong. And it is abominable for people to be treating him with deference. It is fucking abominable. That is Nazis making nice with Hitler. Showing Donald Trump deference right now and allowing him to portray that there is anything like anything out of line about holding him to account for his crimes. He's like no one, we don't fuck with that. You don't twirl yourself up with gooey, sticky honey fingers and, oh, I touched that. Oh, I guess I'm all wrapped up in this now, but I want to come, I see I'm coming back. And like, you left, Mr. Trump, you left the national Capitol smeared with blood and shit. And without listening to the growing chorus talking about a restraining order, you're coming back, banging on the door of the home of the family who you attacked someone inside of. And you're saying, I'm going to make an honest woman out of you. Don't interfere with my marriage. What's this about a restraining order? Bang, bang, bang. I love you. Bang, bang, bang. Screaming that this family's committing marriage interference against me. This hag, she's committing marriage interference, and all I want to do is make an honest woman out of her. If she thinks I was bad before, she's going to find it's even worse out there without how I love you. How do we not see? Like, it's time to see that we are dealing with a dark triad, violent abuser who uses other people to harm people, who uses the deal to crush, who does not want to win. He wants to conquer. It's not a game. It was never a movie. It was never a joke. It was never safe to say he didn't mean that. It was never safe to say he wouldn't do that. It was never safe to let him in the same room with the President of the United States. So it was never safe to allow him to run for president, ever. And if people lose their careers because someone needs to be held accountable for the abject failure to vet a clear and present threat to America the first time, because we're going to take action, so be it. This country, our union, is more important than anyone, even someone a lot of people are coming on the air all over about. Just because MAGA is coming all over the air, just coming on the air all over the place, about how he's just too good to be Trump. He is too good to be Trump. That's not a statement of ecstasy. That is a statement of fact. There is nothing good about him, and you praise him as if he's God. We all have a duty to humanity, and we have a duty to not spoil human habitat. And this crazy Mother Falcon Crest, abominable predator is threatening human family. There is a duty to one another that we need to check ourselves. Like, those who have been screaming that slavery wasn't bad thought it was so bad to have to put on a mask to protect mom and dad. I call CAD. I call wokes cold, but fire burns bad. I'm happy to woke scold you, just like anyone should be happy to scold when the cancer or a bad answer or a terrible mistake or a falsehood, a threat shows its face. We need to communicate clearly, and reproach is part of free speech. Look to the man who said things that you know are lies and that you have not drilled down on. Just drill down on one of the lies that you know are fucked. If we stopped testing right now, there would be very few cases, if any, he said. And we move on. Drill down on that. That someone would be able to sleep without clarifying that, as opposed to feel like, next, it's 2 or 3 different kinds of gaslight, 2 or 3 different kinds of death threats. Definitely normalizing a totalitarian, batshit mindset. And coercing us to accept whatever the fuck he says, to accept any lie as whatever he says it is. You don't indoctrinate people to be coerced to accept a provable falsehood out of sport. You do it out of a conquest. And we are what is being conquered. We have to now stop our submission and reverse the beginnings of Project 2025 and absolutely decimate, for once and for all, the hold that white supremacist patriarchal terror has on a lot of white people and their victims. It's time to help those people with health care, with mental health support for this deprogramming, and the reckoning that the fucking criminals trying to profit from enslavement and genocide and re-entrenching that terrorism are trying to further profit off of that slavery math that is connected to crimes for which there is no statute of limitations. That puts Ron DeSantis, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, among others, committing high crimes, crimes against humanity. Period. It's time for us to heal, to process and heal our American apartheid. It's not an easy journey, but it is literally better than falling off this cliff. We have a pathway to America together. We have a pathway. It's written down in the Constitution, and if we take the training wheels for white people off and make those rules for everyone, and make sure no one gets left behind, and we actually invest in American ideas, we actually invest in American students, like recognizing that students become the people who took us to the moon. Students become the people who do the things that Elon Musk has said he's trying to do, but is doing in the spirit of evil. We find people who can do good well. We are not going to let human habitat crumble, and we're not going to be nothing more than the massive combusting fart out of a magnificently huge ass. We can do better. We can do better.
was captured, all the math will collapse and be heard 3/5. Not bad, not bad. I mean, it's a cast. Have we cracked? Are we dashed? Are we daft? Are we aftermath at last? I think that's the answer. Or maybe we're daft, maybe we're back, maybe we're aftermath. I think we are finally at that cold cache that is us, amassed. Alas, the masses, alack and alas, the masses abandon and fast. I think that's the ask. I think we are band-aiding band-aids. Candle that. Can we handle that wick? Candle that. Candle this. Can you handle truth? Not can, but are you willing? Will you steward them? Steward the facts and the acts and the damages. Have we mapped those candidates? Who are those there? What are they doing? What is that spasm? Mark, what's that spasm? Who has 'em? I like. Is that dance? Is that an orgasm? Is that perchance a chasm I'd grasp life across? Am I the new boss? I'll have what they're having. I'll have what she's having. I'll have a cask. I'll have the whole fucking mass. I'll have that. I'll have what they're having. I'll have the mass, a flask or a cask. I think we are bandages on bandages aftermath. As the math acts like scrubbing bubbles, as the actions absolve themselves. Are we the solution? Are we the poison? Or are we what are in that poison? No daughter. No, daughter, you're not poison. In the water you are what are in the poison. As the math we act. Aftermath is part of the falsehood, and a more definitive recording of that is already in the works. I continue creating new versions of things, and sometimes it's because they're reprises, but sometimes it's because that's what makes sense to me, to expand something or improve, or maybe not replace it, but add layers or something. 6 the feet of separation. Six the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. Are you hearing it? Are you hearing it? This? I mean, is it coming through the system, or are you, if you're watching this live right now on February 20th, 2024 at 2:54 and 51 seconds a.m. Central Standard Time, are you, the memory is happening. I don't know if it's happening again, but the memory is happening. The memory is definitely happening. I can hear it coming in. I'm not hearing it through the system. I think if I open the channel, I'm actually going to see a resonance of it, and if it's there, I'll sing with it, because I can hear the sounds coming together. I don't know if this has happened yet, but I've seen it before, and I've shared fragments of this before. But whether it's already started happening or has happened before, or I'm somehow getting a memory of something that has yet to happen or is starting to happen, this is of note. It's about what I was saying before, about us believing, associating the mind of democracy with the Statue of Liberty, and that we would locate some kind of nexus in the cranium of the Statue of Liberty, the apparent cranium of the Statue of Liberty, the new Colossus. It is coming. It's definitely, it's opening. I mean, I think it's already opening. I'm going to try to sing along with it. If it's, I'll share it. This is really powerful too. This channel is hot. I'm going to try to pull this down. hopefully this registers okay and doesn't just stop the stream and blow everything. What but horrific abuse would cause the minds that otherwise liaise without noticing it to become aware of one another and hear the lies and truths and understand that we can face all of our diseases and crimes and that it's going to be all right, that we can come together if we can face what we've done and heal our American apartheid. Baby, I don't understand why we can't just hold on to each other's hands. This time might be the last I fear, unless I make this all too clear. I need you so. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again and live and love so free. When we hear our voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. Maybe I think tonight we can take what was wrong and make it right. Baby, it's all I know, that you're half of the flesh and blood that makes me whole. I need you so. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us sing. Take these broken wings, you've got to learn to fly and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in and show us where to begin. let us in. Let us in. Baby, it's all I know, that you're half of the flesh and blood that makes me whole. Yeah, yeah. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings, you've got to learn to fly and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah, yeah. Book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, it's all I know. I need you so. It was, I'm not sure if it's happened yet, but it feels like it's already happened, or like it's happened in time already somewhere. And we are the reality distortion fielding. We can sense what is. We do have intuition. We do have an array that can help us understand what's going on and perceive hokum. We can absolutely discern and perceive things. We can't always know when someone is lying to us, but there are signs. And certainly someone who only speaks in a kind of frenzied, I'm trying to make you panic, lynch mob, brain syndrome, speak, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for instance. If someone speaks to you as if they're constantly trying to make you terrified in such a way that they can point at someone and tell you that's the evil person, attack them and you'll do it. If that's the bandwidth in which someone is always speaking, it becomes a bit of a confession. That's why the abominable game that Marjorie Taylor Greene plays of, I can't believe that they're so rude as to call me racist, she says. that we really no longer can entertain people who have been in like the Tim Pool bandwidth of spewing gaslight and dog whistles and saying, "What, me? Oh, we don't have time to mess around with whether or not somebody is trying to start a lynch mob. If they're behaving like they are, then we need to apprehend the falsehood. Because the worst elements among us have been emboldened by the worst element among us. And that doesn't sound like consent. It sounds like submission, because we're so terrified by the abusive, unhinged malice that Trump regularly shows and his emissaries regularly show through shocking boundary violations that terrify us. Because who would behave that way but a truly diabolical person, so we don't drill down on it. It's easier to think, well, if I don't rock the boat, he'll just go away. COVID didn't just go away either. Predators, programmed by nature or themselves, not for winning, but for conquest. We have to say no and create boundaries of steel to save human habitat and to pull America back from the brink of Nazi dictatorship. We can do it. Do you know why? Because we love you. And because we like you. Because it would be a true waste to waste this gift and waste this chance with everything that we've built. With all of the mistakes that we have made, those are mistakes we don't have to make again. That's why you don't erase history, because that's showing our work. And we need to keep working. We have more to do. We have much more and better to do as a union, as a nation, as a country that can and does. And so let's now begin, let's actually begin and foster the culture of processing our American apartheid and healing and coming to be a human family, building a nation here, united, at last. And we are tolerant of everything but intolerance. Let's do it. If we ever believed, let's do it. Let's take on the bigots and Nazis among us who are saying that immigrants ruin this country that immigrants have built, many of them involuntary. Let's shut the Ku Klux Klan down from harming anyone else ever again. Let's help all of you hoodwinked by the Klan and all of you victimized by the Klan in other ways. Let's free all of you. Let's get you the health care, the mental help, the counseling help to release hate and realize that you're welcome as a part of the human race. it's time. We're leaving the dark ages behind now, and you can't bring your cancer to the table of human family. What if we begin there? That everyone is included. What if woke is good for you? What if love your neighbor as you love yourself literally means be awake enough to know your own needs and know how to see and tell what other people's needs are and communicate together and have one another's backs? How do you love your neighbor as you love yourself? You're aware and you care. You're awake enough to know. And it's okay for people to admonish or praise or reproach you. Those are parts of free speech. And if you don't like being scolded by people, whether they sound woke or otherwise, be a decent person and learn how to deal with the fact that people do talk to one another and that reproach is part of free speech. Snowflakes. Reproach is part of free speech. And knowing how to do it elegantly and civilly in a manner that is civically sound and even kind. Remember how our concept of these things has been devastatingly degraded by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump and others. Permuting hokum, degradation of expectations, degradation of humanity by people who say they love our country and do nothing but talk violence and venom and hatred. The Nazis are the bad guys. It's going to be okay. But even better than okay or great is just good. Good is so much better. Good is so much better. I had a guest here at the font today, and the episode turned out pretty well for just a live go for it and mix things on the fly and such. And I'll be putting out a slightly sound mixed and slightly tweaked version, but just to get it out. I'm sure for the 300th anniversary edition I'll do some kind of a remaster, but I just need to start actualizing things more than perfecting them, because keeping the ability to perfect something that I will never find the time to touch again, it's kind of a big archive of things that won't come if I don't do something with them and don't get at what might feel like a draft or a sketch or a beginning, because I can't give everything to everything, or at least I haven't perfected the method yet. So this is the Font of Mystery 42, and the Annette Bryant episode will be coming out at some point soon, And of course, this and work of Annette Bryant, or work of other artists, and work of myself, the work here is created without utilizing artificial intelligence means to create images. The effects that contain images and animations are practically created and shot and then manipulated with different kinds of layering, with compositing, but not, but the art is being created here by me. And I'm a public display of affection and mindness at the mystery font. 42. Who was the first? I'm not clear on that. Does anyone know who was the first, or who was the first undisputed, I suppose, that has identified themselves over the millennia, or that we have come to identify as the earliest, potentially first donor of the falsehood? This must have been 2,000 or 3,000 years ago or more. Probably earlier than that. Well, the earliest known. Does anyone know who that was? I have so many holes in my knowledge there. But we seem to have found ourselves with another. And we have to tell them no. We have to tell them no, and we have to make it stick with boundaries of steel for the very survival of humanity and our habitat. I love you, and that's why I'm making sure that we talk about this. We are the reality distortion fielding. What's that? Well, we're the players on the field with this, our own reality distortion set, with our own sentient kid, with the prevailing hegemonistic elements, with the codex of what we're indoctrinated with, or the reality distortion fielding. I guess we're a field. We're a field that moves through, and we're minds that are made up of mind that is in part an aspect of memory through nature, through time and space, of habit, of habituation, and tendency. A massive arcing of tendency across time and space. Morphic resonance. The compelling and credible, I think, theory proposed by Rupert Sheldrake. We are the reality distortion fielding.
I made a speech. I looked out. The field was, it looked like a million and a half people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there.
The new White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, gave his first press briefing. He was also highly critical of some media organisations of the way he felt they had misrepresented the number of people who'd attended Friday's inauguration ceremony.
No one had numbers because the National Park Service, which controls the National Mall, does not put any out. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe.
It does not excuse, and you did not answer the question.
I did answer
your question. No, you did not. You did not answer the question of why the president asked the White House press secretary to come out in front of the podium for the first time and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office on day one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that.
This was the largest ever.
We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion feeling. The falsehood will demonize your sensitivity. The falsehood will claim the press is our to cry fake news, yet preempt remedy, betrays false identity. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. The fielding is real and the real is real. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. will tell you fact on factual actually. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. The falsehood will groom you not to question, just believe. The falsehood will rob you of the choice you would perceive. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. The falsehood will tell you intuition's faulty. The falsehood may tell you it's the one and only. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. The falsehood will sow down intuition knows things. We are the reality distortion fieldings. I think it may be so that it's up to us to recognize that we have been pulled into a brain syndrome, that abuse has caused traumatic brain injury, that makes it difficult for us to confront trauma that's happened, including our submission to Donald Trump, that we need to reverse and shatter now. It's time for the new Colossus to be woke.